Good evening and welcome to the August 2026 meeting of the Omaha Public Power District Board of Directors. Thank you all for joining us in person at the Omaha Douglas Civic Center and remotely via WebEx. I hope you and your loved ones are staying safe and healthy. With me in person today are my fellow board members Amanda Bogner, Mike Kavanaugh, Sarah Howard, John Hudson, Craig Moody, Mary Spurgeon, and Eric Williams. We also have CEO Javier Fernandez, Vice President and General Counsel Pete Fisher, and members of our board meeting support staff. OPPD's executive leadership team and subject matter experts also are participating in today's meeting in person and via WebEx. Additionally, we currently have about 10 members of the public at the Civic Center and 17 attendees on WebEx. That's consisting of OPPD employees and members of the public. Thank you for joining us this evening. I'll now ask a member of OPPD's physical security team to provide the safety briefing for our location.
Good afternoon. We typically start with the safety briefing, so we're going to do so again tonight. Because safety is our top priority, we always start with a quick safety briefing talking about physical, cybersecurity, and psychological safety. Physical security wise, if you're not feeling well, hopefully you're not here, you're getting rest, you're getting hydration, you're staying home and seeing any medical attention that you might need. Always know the location of your emergency exit, fire suppression materials, and first aid equipment. In this room, both of our emergency exits are on either side of the room. Those stairwells go directly outside. Also, the stairwells go down to the main garage area where we can take shelter in the event of any type of severe weather, which hopefully we don't have anything to concern ourselves about tonight. Fire suppression, AED, and first aid equipment is located at those same stairwells. And we also have additional equipment in the back. If anybody needs any assistance, please let us know. Cybersecurity wise, always be cautious about any suspicious emails. And in today's age, watch out for suspicious text messages or even phone calls. They're all out there and we want to be aware of those. We always want to make sure we're not clicking on anything that seems untrustworthy. For those of us in OPPD, we have a handy little fish button that we can click and let our cybersecurity team know. Psychological safety is essential for productive collaboration. We always encourage curiosity and continuous learning. We want to make sure that we're speaking and acting with respect, embracing constructive conflict, valuing diverse perspectives, building trust through transparency, and giving everyone a voice and inviting questions and ideas. And finally, we always remember OPPD's core values. We have a passion to serve, we honor our community, and we care for one another. And with that, I'll turn it back over to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's run through our guidelines for the conduct of the meeting. This regular board meeting will follow the agenda made available to the public on OPPD.com. This meeting is being conducted in person with WebEx conferencing and it is being recorded. Our board meetings have public comment periods on the agenda. Comments made by all parties during the meeting are part of the official public record. After the introduction of action items, board members will ask clarifying questions of staff, and then I'll ask for public comment. After public comment, the board will conduct its discussion of the matter and then vote. Before we adjourn, there will be an opportunity to comment on any other matters of district business. We'll take comments in the room first and then via WebEx. For in-person attendees, if you wish to make a comment, please line up behind the microphone, state your name, address, and name of any organization or person you represent. Each individual will be allotted 3 minutes per matter pending. To assist you, we'll use the timer that's in the room. Ms. Lane will signal you when 30 seconds remain, as well as when time is up. If you have written materials, please deliver them to Ms. Lane on our behalf. For WebEx attendees, if you wish to make a comment, please send the meeting host a message using the chat feature or utilize the hand raise feature. Detailed instructions can be found on the OPPD website at the link shown on the screen. When I call on a member of the public to speak, please affirm that we can hear you before starting your comments. Please state your name, address, and the name of any organization or person you represent. Each individual online will be allotted 3 minutes per matter pending. To assist you, we'll use the timer on the screen and signal you when 30 seconds remain, as well as when time is up. If you have written materials, please email them to corporatesecretary@oppd.com and they'll be received on our behalf. For all attendees, please direct your comments to me. I'll either respond to you directly or defer response to another board member or officer of the district. The board values and welcomes civil, respectful, clear, and concise communication from the public. During public comments, speakers should refrain from repetitious, profane, or irrelevant comments. Speakers shall refrain from polling the board as such vote is not on the agenda and is prohibited by law. Ms. Lane, will you please take the roll?
Director Bogner? Here. Director Kavanaugh?
Here.
Director Core?
Here.
Director Howard? Here. Director Hudson?
Here.
Director Moody?
Here.
Director Spurgeon?
Present.
Director Williams?
Here.
Notice of the time and place of this meeting was publicized by notifying the area news media, by publicizing in the Omaha World Herald and Nebraska Press Association, OPPD outlets newsletter, OPPD.com, and social media, by displaying such notice on the first level of OPPD administrative offices, and by emailing such notice to each of the district's directors on August 14th, 2026. A copy of the proposed agenda for this meeting has been maintained on a current basis and is readily available for public inspection in the office of the district's corporate secretary. Additionally, a copy of the Open Meetings Act is available for inspection on OPPD.com and in this meeting room. The consent agenda action items are as follows. Approval of the May and June 2026 financial reports, June 2026 meeting minutes, and August 20th, 2026 agenda.
Thank you. If there are no corrections, changes, or additions to consent agenda items, I need a motion and a second to approve them.
So moved.
Second.
We discussed these action items at the All Committees meeting on Tuesday, August 18th. Do any members of the public in the room have comments on these consent agenda items? If you'd like to make a comment, please come to the podium. Okay, seeing no comments in the room, do any members of the public on WebEx have a comment? Please send a chat to the meeting host or use the hand raise feature in WebEx. Telephone users can press *3 to raise their hand. All right, with no comments online either, Ms. Lane, please take the roll.
Wagner? Yes. Kavanaugh?
Yes.
Orr?
Yes.
Howard? Yes. Hudson?
Yes.
Moody?
Yes.
Spurgeon?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
Motion carries 8-0.
Thank you. With that, we'll turn it over to Mr. Fernandez for the president's report.
Thank you, Chair Cora. Tonight I have a little bit of a little longer than usual president's report, but there was a lot of activity in the month of July, and I want to take this opportunity to share. We're going to start with our traditional baseload generation capacity factors. All 4 units were available online. We had a few small issues, but the units readily supported customer demand during some very, very warm temperatures. You can see here the capacity factors of all the units were pretty high. We did experience an outage at North Omaha Unit 5 that was out for 4 days during the month of July, but for the most part, all units performed really well. Next slide. Our balancing generation saw a lot of activity, and this is not unusual to see activity, but the level of activity is a little bit unusual. What I want to highlight is that the fleet performed outstandingly in July. They set multiple records for summer month generation. All 20 balancing generation units supported local and regional grid reliability throughout the month. Our brand new Turtle Creek station had multiple overnight runs, and at least one of those units ran for 28 out of 31 days in July, which is very unusual, and it's a signal from SPP of grid stress. Further, and this is just kudos to Troy Vai and his team. They've been working on this fleet for a few years. The fleet was successful in 421 out of 422 starts for 99.7% start efficiency. Congratulations. This is, again, working on our units, maintaining our units so that they're available when we need them the most. And third, certainly not least, our renewable generation portfolio. Very, very important to our fleet. Capacity factor of our entire renewable portfolio was 33% for the month of July. Community solar, 25%, Platteview solar, 33%, and wind, 28.5%. This part of our portfolio, and I'm going to talk about this in a minute, it is incredibly helpful for us to meet our peak load in the summer months, especially in the summer months. And I'm going to talk about this in just a few slides. Next slide, please. As you all know, the Southwest Power Pool, or SPP, is OPPD's regional transmission organization. As a region, SPP reached a new number, a new summer peak in July. There were 3 new peaks in July within a 7-day period, but the highest one was on July 27, 2026. Very, very important here to see that what happened on that day. You can see wind penetration, solar penetration, and then the peak, which is the purple line on the top. A comment that I get often is that wind is not reliable and solar is not reliable or predictable. Well, as you can see, it was actually very predictable and very reliable. We knew, you can see the dotted line is what SPP anticipated wind to be the day before. And when the day came in, it came in very close to what was anticipated. We know we have a lot of data, a lot of science behind all these forecasts, and we know when it's going to be windy and how windy is going to be, and the solar irradiance the same way. That day, wind was expected to be low, and you can see that in the graph. So this is a very, very important piece that shows the importance of having a generation fleet in the footprint of SPP that is diverse, that can come online when wind or solar are low. Now, solar is low, not because the sun wasn't shining, but because we have not been able to install more solar facilities at the Southwest Power Pool. But that's about to change, and I really hope it does, because on days like these, the value of solar energy would have been tremendous for the region. Next slide. So I'm going from the region at SPP, now zooming into OPPD. We've been busy. You can see here what's happened in the past few years. It's been a hot summer, and OPPD also hit another peak, which is our second new summer peak this year. We've reached a new peak every summer since 2021. Now we're growing both in winter and summer. A new historic winter peak load was established just this past January in 2026. The growth on our winter peak is roughly equivalent to adding the load of the city of Spokane, Washington, in just a matter of 5 years. Now, on the summer peak, it's even more pronounced. OPPD's summer peak increased over 10% since last summer. This is a compound annual growth rate of 4.36% since the historic summer peak set in July of 2019. The summer growth that we've experienced in that period is similar to adding a city of Lincoln, 849 megawatts of additional peak in a matter of 5 years. When I say that the region is growing, and this is exactly what I'm talking about. The growth rate that OPPD has experienced on our peak is higher, it's faster than the grid operators at the California ISO and ERCOT, serving California and Texas. So when we hear growth is happening in California and Texas, for sure it's happening. Growth from a percentage perspective, it happened faster to us. We've been enabling that growth. The last slide I have on our portfolio, which is to me a beautiful representation of a diverse energy portfolio. On July 27 of 2026, that is when we established a new peak load for OPPD. As you can see here, depicted on the graph, for those of you who have the color version, at the bottom, the orange area is our base load generation, followed by the green area, which represents our wind generation, followed by a pink slice, which is solar, followed by the blue line, or the blue area, which is our balancing generation, mostly natural gas and some oil units. The yellow piece is what we were able to buy from the market. The market dispatches units in the most efficient way, and in those hours of those days, OPPD had more than enough generation to cover our load, but it was more efficient for us to not run all of our generation and buy the rest of the generation from the market. In fact, you can see there were certain hours in 2020, on July 27th, where we generated more than our load, and those additional megawatts go into the market, and we are supporting the market. On July 2027, just like with the Southwest Power Pool, wind was not very strong that day, and hence the need for us to have our balancing generation come online and help balance the grid and balance the load, the demand that we had from our customers. You can see here that peak happened around 6 p.m., between 6 and 7 p.m., when all air conditioning units were running, and right, that's when the highest demand come on our system. Now, just a week later, on August 3rd, it wasn't as hot, but it was a very, very hot day in August. We did not set a peak, but it was a very, very hot day where we had a lot of demand. That day, we forecasted, and wind came in incredibly strong. And you can see here the beauty of having that diverse generation portfolio. We were able to not have to run our balancing generation because that gap was covered by renewable generation, wind generation, and solar that peaked exactly when we needed it to peak. In fact, that wind penetration allowed us also to run our baseload generation a little bit lower, back out our baseload generation so that we can give way for wind generation. This is just an example, a very rudimentary example of how our teams balance our resources and on a minute-by-minute basis, and why it's so important for us to have a diverse energy generation portfolio and to have our units in top shape so that we can count on them whenever we have them. No single fuel source is immune to disruption. Weather events, supply chain issues, price spikes, or infrastructure failures can hit any one source at any time. A diverse portfolio means that we are not dependent on one point of failure. Diverse generation supports grid stability by balancing intermittent resources, wind and solar, with dispatchable ones, natural gas, coal, and in the future, nuclear. These can ramp up or down based on demand. So again, I'm just sharing something that oftentimes is overlooked. And I wanted to show, I think this is a very recent example of the challenges and opportunities we have when we run the grid. And a shout out to the board of directors, because you have allowed us to have such a strong and diverse portfolio that is really serving the community. Next slide, please. These are some of the statistics that I just mentioned earlier. Our load has grown by nearly 850 megawatts. I said it's about the size of Lincoln. And as we're growing in that same period, our rates went from being 10% below the national average to 30% below the national average. So we've been serving additional load, and the competitiveness of our rates has increased by threefold. At the same time, the state of Nebraska continues to rank at the highest levels. These last 2025, we ranked #2 in the nation for reliability. I want to remind the public that this doesn't happen overnight. It's a product of a lot of work from the OPPD team, from our board of directors. We've had 2 different resolutions where the board has approved new generation. One was in 2019, the other one was in 2022 to 2023. You can see here the summary. In summary, OPPD has either built and energized or is in the process of building 1,500 megawatts of natural gas generation units and 1,800 megawatts of total renewable energy since 2019. Again, these numbers often get overlooked, but I wanted to just give kudos to the organization. This is 3,300 megawatts of new generation that a lot of it is already online today, providing power to our community, and some of it is going to come in here in the near future. We have Pierce County coming online next year. We have Turtle Creek expansion, Cass County expansion, Byrd County solar. We need all these resources, and we're very excited to continue to provide these energy and this capacity for the growth of the region. Next slide. In the past 6 months, we have launched 2 new construction rebate programs, one for residential customers and another for commercial and industrial customers. These new construction rebates make it easier for both home builders and commercial design teams to choose energy efficient options. The residential program helps offset the added cost of high efficiency home features, while the commercial and industrial program uses a tool to guide smarter building design from the start. Together, these programs target to lower peak demand, support sustainability, and help ensure strong long-term system performance and reliability. You can learn more at oppd.com under products and services. Something that I didn't mention in the previous slides, of course, and I have very limited time here, but another incredible resource here is demand side management. And I will have another opportunity, maybe at the next board meeting, I can dive a little bit deeper in there, how our customers also help us meet that peak load by saving energy on the peak and by saving energy year-round with energy efficiency programs. Next slide, please. OPPD is also expanding its Get Protection offerings from 2 products to a 10-product suite with HomeServe. HomeServe is a national service network that OPPD partners with to deliver you reliable and convenient home coverage. OPPD launched this new set of home protection plans this week, and it includes warranty coverage for water heaters, HVAC systems, electrical surge, tech protection, ductless heat pumps, and appliances. We are excited that this suite offers customers predictable costs, vetted technicians, and simplified coverage, reinforcing OPPD's commitment to comfort, safety, and reliability. You can learn more about these new products at oppd.com under the section of products and services. Going into our workforce, shining bright to honor our community. Employees throughout the district volunteer a total of 36.5 hours to support the United Way of the Midlands during the Shine Bright event. This Shine Bright program provides full-size hygiene and personal care kits to local students entering kindergarten, 6th grade, and 9th grade. Volunteers supported the setup, the kit organization, and delivery. United Way partners with Omaha Public Schools, Council Bluffs Community Schools, and Papillion La Vista Schools. The kits help children start the school year feeling confident and prepared, and I can tell you as a father of 4, that also helps the parents be confident and prepared as your children start school. Last, I have very sad news. I would like to take a moment to honor the memory of a colleague and employee we recently lost. Jan Ridout, a clerk in customer operations, passed away on July 5th. Jan worked at OPPD for over 20 years and took great pride in her career. She was a dedicated and hardworking individual, diligently managing reports and always willing to take on more. She was proud to work for OPPD, and her commitment and passion to serve made a lasting impact. Jan's greatest joy in life was her family. She is survived by her daughter, Monica Ridout, her sisters, Juanita Ridout and Joyce Ridout, and many extended family and friends. Jan was a dedicated employee that we will miss very much. And with that, I conclude my presence report.
Thank you. With that, now it's time for comments from the public on other items on district business. If any members of the public in the room have a comment, please come to the podium, state your name, address, and any organization or person you represent.
David Begley, 4611 South 96th Street. Have some news that directors might want to pay attention this time. In my role as Special Knox County Attorney, Nebraska Federal Judge John Gerard upheld the ban of commercial and industrial wind and solar in Nebraska. And a very good opinion, bulletproof on appeal, I can say that. Here's a couple quotes. Judge Gerard said, North Fork Wind has no claim that it was deprived of a fundamental right enshrined in the Constitution. There is a conceivable relationship between aesthetics and safety, a legitimate government interest, and a ban on commercial wind farms. And I can tell you right now, there's a lot of counties in Nebraska looking at this. And once you're going to have a little problem here in the future. So here's another bit of news you may not be familiar with. Now that the federal tax credits have expired, the prices for PPA are going to go up 40 to 120%. So hello, customers, your rates are going to double thanks to all this. And this isn't some, I made up. It's Level 10 Energy. They are in the business of modeling and brokering these prices. So some people say, well, wind and solar, they're the cheapest by a large margin. Well, that's from the Lazard firm, Wall Street investment bankers. And we all know Javier is a super smart guy. I mean that sincerely, Javier. He got his finance degree, and I'm sure he has some classmates from Yale that work on Wall Street. And the thing of it is, if you're really good with numbers, you can rig and game those numbers. And Lazard has rigged and gamed their low levelized cost of energy thing. So people say, well, why would Lazard do that? Why would they try to trick people? Well, I'll tell you, it's real simple. They do these deals. They issue these wind and solar companies offer equity and debt, and Lazard gets a commission every single time when they do those deals. So good for them. So I listened to the meeting the other day. Committee Director Spurgeon says there is perspective here that thinks OPPD just does
30
whatever it
seconds.
wants. Well, you absolutely do. Your customers don't know what net zero is. Rural Nebraska doesn't want it. And you're going to end up raising rates. And last thing, Javier had a thing in the Midlands Business Journal where he said, do not politicize power. I agree with that. That's why you should get rid of your political wind and solar ST7. And finally, Canada emitted, this is unbelievable, 2.4 to 3.28 gigatons with those wildfires. OPPD, you allegedly admit 0.0076 gigatons. So Canada is the reason there's
That's time.
global warming. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Are there any other members in the room that would, members of the public in the room that would like to make a comment? Seeing none, do any members of the public joining via WebEx have comments on other items of district business? Please send a chat to the meeting host or use the hand raise feature in WebEx. Telephone users can press *3 to raise their hand.
David Corbin.
Sir, if you can hear me, go ahead, please.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
David Corbin, 1002 North 49th Street, representing the Nebraska Sierra Club. First of all, I want to thank the staff member for the follow-up to my comments on Tuesday about the incorrect information I received during the power outage. It sounds like you're working on a solution to that. I was happy to see what you announced today about your rebate programs for energy efficiency. Then I want to just clear up regarding my comments about the title for your closed session. I was not suggesting that it was illegal. I was just requesting that the title should indicate whether it was something proprietary, legal, or a personnel matter so that the public knows that instead of looking like it's something secret. I was happy to hear that OPPD staff is meeting with Douglas County Health Department. And I'm just wondering when we might find out what the discussions were about and if any new decisions have been made regarding Resolution 6744. I noticed that CEO Fernandez has been named to the Data Center Task Force by Governor Pillen. And it will be interesting to see how often you meet and if the meetings are open to the public and what I assume you're going to be discussing some of the impact on peak loads that have been discussed earlier. Finally, I'd like to point out that on the graphs that were shown today, it would be nice to see batteries in that mix to a larger percentage. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Does anyone else online have any comments?
John Pollock.
Okay, sir, if you can hear me, go ahead, please. Mr. Pollock, go ahead, please. We can come back if there's anybody else online. Okay, we'll give it a minute. He's unmuted. Mr. Pollock, you need to unmute yourself on WebEx, please. Okay. Mr. Pollock, if you can hear me for now, if you have any comments that you want to submit to Ms. Lane, they'll be received on our behalf. And yeah, yes, sir. So with that and no further comments online, Ms. Lane? Okay. With that, we are adjourned at 5:30. Thank you.